Jai Gurudev, Jai Masters. There is a state of life in which there are no more problems. There's only joy, love, enthusiasm, passion, excitement. And that is the state that you were meant to live in. Everybody wants that. If you sit and contemplate every single thing you want, that you think you want, a house, a wife, a husband, a child, financial success, a car, a boat, travel, every single thing with no exception. The reason you think you want it is because you think it will bring you joy. You think it will bring you love. You think it will bring you enthusiasm and passion and excitement. That is probably the most important thing that a person needs to realize at some point. You don't want any of the things you say you want. If getting them would make you miserable, you would not say you wanted them. Even the most cherished that you think is so special, the most perfect person, this, that, everything, who you're looking. If God showed up, I always say in a burning bush, the bush starts talking to you, figure it's God or something, right? And he just sits there and says, you can have it. Point to her, point to him, point anyone. You can absolutely have it. And they'll adore you and stay loyal and always be there for you. And it will make you miserable. Every time you come home, your heart will drop, whatever you were enthused, you'll just get so depressed and so on. I know you don't imagine that, but it can happen. Anything can happen. And what that will make you realize is, oh, I asked for the wrong thing. I should have asked for love instead of asking for the person I thought would give me love. I mean, you know this. You deal with it every single day of your life. If you get into a relationship, or you used to, whatever, I like to take high school, it's perfect. You get into a relationship, and the whole thing is about bringing you joy, bringing you love, bringing you excitement. The moment it doesn't do that, you say, it's just not working for me anymore. What the heck does that mean? It means I thought that you were going to be the source of my love, the source of my joy, the source of my enthusiasm. Therefore, I'm hanging out with you. It's not working anymore. I don't feel the love. I don't feel the joy. I don't feel the excitement. Bye-bye. You've all done it, all right? You've all had it done to you. And so it's sort of like, why don't we wake up? It is not about renunciation. It is not about denial. It is not about putting God in front of everything else. It's not. It is about waking up and realizing the only reason I'm saying I want something is because I'm not okay. I'm not experiencing what I want to be experiencing. And what I'm doing is projecting that lacking onto people, places, different things. If I had that, then I would feel the way I want to feel. That's what you're saying when you say I want something, is I don't feel what I want to be feeling. That will make me feel what I want to be feeling. And eventually you wake up, and to cut to the chase, because I want to go a long way tonight, you realize that's called indirection. Why am I doing it indirectly? What I want is love. Why am I saying I want you? What I want is love. Why don't I ask for love? If you guys are into praying, don't pray, oh, if Johnny could just love me, oh, if he'd even pay attention to me, it would mean so. What are you doing? Just sit there and say, if I could feel so much love that I can't see straight, let's ask for something meaningful. But you don't ask for that. You ask for the bigger house. You ask for the new job. You ask for, why? Why? If you don't feel whole in the job you're in, if you don't feel respected, if you don't feel you can go anywhere, if you don't feel that you're really getting from it what you want to be getting, guess what? There's not something wrong with your job. There's something wrong with you. And that's what no one will say to you. Because you are capable of feeling so high that we got to hold you down all the time. That is your natural state. You are a beautiful being inside. There's tremendous love. There's tremendous joy. There's tremendous enthusiasm, excitement, passion, everything. But we're not feeling it. Very good. So you get to the point where you realize that it is not true that I want things outside of me. I say I do. My mind says it does. Because it doesn't feel inside what it wants and it doesn't know any better. That's what it really boils down to. It doesn't know any better. The only experience it ever had in its whole life that made it feel better was something outside. Sometimes somebody shows up, gives you a lot of attention, or dotes to you, or says something sweet, or you win the lottery, or whatever it is. Something happens outside that stimulates something inside so that you begin to feel what you think you want to feel inside. The trouble is it has never lasted for anybody, any of it, never. In the history of the world, new things have to keep happening, don't they? Here, what's your favorite meal? I'll give it to you: breakfast, lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Okay? Go to Hawaii and have a good time, but go there every single time for the next 30 years, the exact same place, every time you have a vacation. It is not the thing that is doing it, any of it. It's not the thing. It's you. It's the fact that you're not okay inside. You have developed a mindset based on your past experiences. Therefore, everybody's different as to what will turn me on and what turns me off. Well, you've had different experiences. So your mind has data. I call it data because I'm a computer guy, right? This data comes in, and you've got that stored in your mind. So now I'm not okay, but I want to be okay. I don't want to be depressed and give up or anything like that. So I need to feel inspired. I need to feel hope. That's a nice word. What is hope? I'm not okay, but I hope someday I will be. Hope is not a spiritual state. A great being does not feel hope. They feel ecstasy. Not hope that they'll feel ecstasy. Okay? So basically, you come down and you realize what's happening is I'm not okay. I have this data inside my mind of past experience that made me feel better, made me feel worse. So obviously I don't want to not feel whole. I do not want to feel lacking. I do not want to feel this sort of thing. It's just more of a feeling. It doesn't have a name to it yet. It's just this feeling of not okayness. You know anything about that? I don't feel complete. I don't feel whole. I don't feel comfortable. I feel awkward. I feel there's a disturbance in the force inside. Okay? Notice it doesn't have a name yet. That's the root. You didn't call it jealousy. You didn't call it fear. You didn't call it insecurity. You didn't call it need for a better car. You didn't label it yet. It's just the core of not feeling whole, of not feeling complete, of not feeling a deep sense of contentment. And every one of you know what I'm talking about. Because you don't feel that, and you don't want to live like that, and I don't blame you, you shouldn't want to live like that, you try to do something about it. Sounds perfectly normal. Who wants to live like that, right? I want to feel that. So you go to your mind. That's where you go. You go to your mind. Why, it's the wise guy. It's the Mr. Know-it-all, Miss Know-it-all. And the mind is very, very happy to oblige him. Your mind loves you. Don't you dare think that because we talk about having to transcend the mind or the mind's a big problem. The mind's a problem because you made it be a problem. Your mind is your absolute best friend. You go to your mind and say, oh my God, I'm not okay. I don't know what's wrong. I don't even know. The mind says, I'll figure it out for you. What does the mind know? It doesn't know. It only knows its past experience. They go to a computer. Walk up to your computer. I don't feel well. Why don't I feel well? Siri will think about it. I don't know. What's the matter with you? Your mind is no different than that. That's just data. It's just data rearranging itself based on a program. What do you think's going on in there? Your mind says something totally different than hers. So you go to your mind. You go to your beautiful computer mind that's filled with the data of your personal past experiences, and deep inside, your heart goes to the mind and says, I'm not okay, I don't know what it is, I'm not okay. The mind says, well, I wonder what it is. Well, you were not okay when you were 12, and then you met Sally, remember, in 8th grade or whatever it was, right? And boy, that was like one of the highest times of your life. You need to meet somebody. That's what your mind says. What do you expect it to say? That's its experience. Period. It's not going to sit there and say, you need to meditate. It doesn't know anything about that. It doesn't even, I would never say that. You need to go to your room and meditate because you don't feel well. No, I need to find a Sally substitute. I need to find something outside of me, right? Or I just don't feel self-worth. I don't feel my life has meaning. Again, the mind says, well, you remember your friend, Paul? When he got that new house in the Hamptons? It's a ritzy place. When he got the new house in the Hamptons, like everybody wanted to go to his house. He threw these parties and everybody went. Get a house in the Hamptons. That will make you feel important. That will give you meaning to your life by having this big, beautiful house. And people will feel jealous that you have this house. That'll make you feel good. And so it just does what you told it to do. It tries to figure out tries to imagine, that's your imagination, tries to imagine based upon your past data what it is that will make you feel better. And it's such a conspiracy, it's such a trick. Why? Because it's going off the data that made you feel well before, your heart will feel excited. It will feel, yeah, I like that. If I get the new car, if I get the house, if I move to New York, if I get divorced and then married again, because this one's just not working, all right? It's like, I mean, it worked before. Look how excited I was when I married her. I need to get rid of her and get somebody else, and I'll be excited again. And that is how it's going to think, because it has no other data. That's the data it has. And so it works with that. If, on the other hand, your parents had gone and, the daddy struck it rich and bought a house in the Hamptons, and they all got weird, and that's why they got divorced, I am guaranteeing you that when you're feeling weird and not feeling loved or important, your mind's not going to say, get a house in the Hamptons. It's not going to say that. It's going to say, get a boat. It'll do stuff like that. It's embarrassing to talk about. But it does that kind of stuff. It only has the data of its experiences. And your experiences include the books you read, include the movies you went to, include what your friends told you. Do you understand that? Whatever comes in through your senses is stored within your mind, especially if it made you feel good or made you feel bad. In general, you don't hold on to the white lines that you drive by. They're not stored in there. The more it made you feel good, the more it's staying in there. And the more it made you feel bad, the more it's staying in there. Everything that ever made you feel bad inside, you still got it in there, don't you? And you know you do. Because if something starts to happen outside that reminds you of it, you don't know how to do with it, do you? And that's how we live our lives. Well, I'll go way deeper. But do you understand that? That's your life. If you don't do something about it, that's how you're living your life. You picked up this data, random. It's pretty random. You could have had totally different experiences. You know that, all right? It's just those are the experiences that happen in front of you. I don't even anymore see them as my experiences. Will you go a little deeper with me? I do not see my past as my past. I do not see them as my experiences. I see the world as the world. It's unfolding. It's been unfolding for 13.8 billion years, hasn't it? And it's unfolding everywhere. But I only see a little bit. So what I call my past or my experiences are just the things that happen to have been going on where I was standing. If I looked to the left, I had a different experience. If I looked to the right, I had a different experience. It's not my experience. It's what was going on in the universe at the spot in the time-space continuum where I was standing at the moment. So that's what came in. Do you see that? It's the truth, isn't it? So, but I didn't store it that way. Because it hit me as comfortable or uncomfortable for various reasons, I stored it accordingly, etc., etc., etc. So basically, if you're not careful, you will spend your life the way I described. The world unfolded in front of you ever since you were born. You took on those impressions into your mind. That's the data. You stored them as like and dislike because of how they hit you at the time. Things have different vibrations. I'm not denying that. I tell you that. If you see a coiled up rattlesnake rattling and you have a butterfly fly and land on your arm, they are totally different experiences. One is very, very comfortable and one is very, very scary. I'm not saying that's not that way. I'm not saying you did that. The Buddhists talk about the nature of things. Everything has its nature. A coiled up rattlesnake has a nature, doesn't it? And that nature comes into you. And I hope it makes you scared because that's his intention. It's a scary thing that's happening. So it comes in, it feels scary. A butterfly is a beautiful thing that's happening, and so it comes in and it feels beautiful. Nobody's changing that. Nobody's denying that. But the fact is that you are not okay with the scary, and you are not okay with the beautiful. You're okay with the white lines. They go fly right by. Right? The trees, the clouds, most people, almost every one of them, you just go right by. I don't even see them. Cars drive by, everything, right? All kinds of stuff goes by. But if it hits you and makes you really comfortable or really uncomfortable inside, then it stays. And it stays because you held it. I've taught you that. I'm not going to do that tonight. It is not natural that stuff stays inside of you. They are not meant to get stuck in your mind and stay there. That is not the nature of things. That is not how creation was created. They come in, you experience them, therefore you get the power from them. You had the experience. There's an expression, experience is the best teacher. That's the truth. I could talk to you all day what a banana tastes like. You've never had one. Take a bite. There ain't no comparison, is there? Read about love. Read all the poetry you want. Then fall in love. Guess who knows about love? Experience is absolutely the best teacher. So when you have an experience, it is a gift. It is a gift. It's just an experience you get to have. You become a greater person because you had this experience. Which experience? I don't care. You want to have an honest talk? Every single one. But I got mugged. You had an experience that other people didn't have. Maybe it wasn't pleasant. But guess what? It's over. You do not keep getting mugged. It's something that happened 10 years ago at a point in space and time. It is not meant to stay in there. It's meant to feed you, to teach you. If you go to school, you'll go take an algebra class. I didn't know algebra before I started. You didn't either. So you went there. Sometimes it was difficult. It was maybe good, bad, whatever. There's all kinds of experiences. But ultimately, you don't stay in the algebra class. You don't keep going back there because you did good. You go on and your life continues. But you don't ever lose the experience, the knowledge, the wisdom, the growth that you had, that your mind learned to think that way. Experience changes you. Every single experience you have changes you. But you know why it changes you? Because you become a person who had that experience. You want to learn to play tennis. So you get a tennis pro, stands on the other side. You happen to be very good at a strong forearm and a particular angle. Should that tennis pro keep hitting you the ball right there? That's what you do best. Oh my God, you're great practice. That's not a very good pro. And you're not going to be a very good tennis player, are you? So every single angle that ball gets hit to you, and you struggle to experience what it's like to have the ball coming from that angle at that speed, makes you a better player. Same thing with playing an instrument. Same thing with every single thing you do. Experience makes you a better person, a wholer person. Every single experience. Good ones, bad ones, high ones, low ones, it doesn't matter, right? The fact is, I got to have that experience. I'm now a greater being than I was before. Every single thing that ever happened to you made you a greater person, made you a wholer person. It helped you evolve, okay? But that's not what happens. Why? Because you in there have will. You have power. You were given free will. And what you do is say, I don't want to have that experience. Don't you? I don't want to have had that experience. Can I just say that one sentence over again? Because it has to be the stupidest sentence that anybody ever said. I don't want to have had that experience. You just admitted you had it. Well, you can't unhave it. Can you? Has anybody figured out yet how to unhave an experience? You can't unhave it. It happened. So you got two choices. Either you grow from it, you learn from it, you imbibe it, you embrace it, you let it teach you, or you resist it. Well, I can't resist it. It already happened. Of course you can't resist that it already happened. It happened. But you can resist that it passes through you. Do you understand that? It's called denial, suppression, repression. You can sit there and say, the experience already happened, it's gone. But the impression that it made on my mind, I don't want to feel it. I don't want it to have gone. I'm not letting it all the way into me. I don't want it touching me. So you push it away. You got hands in there, don't you? And you push it away. When you do that, it stays. That's all. I don't make a big deal out of it. I'm guaranteeing you, if you push it away, what you've basically done is say, I don't want to experience you, so stay inside of me. So you push it away. And when you push it away, it will stay. It will become part of these impressions. We call it in yoga, we call them some scars. Part of this impression that stayed inside of you. And it's a negative impression. It's not a negative experience. It's an experience that wasn't comfortable. Seeing a rattlesnake is not a negative experience. It's an uncomfortable experience. If it's all rattled up, he's basically sitting there rattling, and you're getting scared. Okay, fine. You're now a knower of rattlesnakes. I'll walk with you. You know how to deal with them. You know not to be too scared, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you don't. I don't want to have had that experience. I'll repeat that to you. I don't want to have had that experience. And so you push it away, and so it stays inside of you. All these things have stayed inside. And then the other one is something's positive. I don't like to talk about this one because you don't like to hear it. If something really beautiful happens, well, why does that stay inside? Because you don't want to let it go. You don't want to let it go. You want that same thing to keep happening again and again and again. In fact, I don't even want it to stop. You stay. Don't go. No, don't go to work today. Stay here. Stay here. I have too much love. Stay here. You understand that? So you cling to it. Buddhists, we call it clinging. All right? You can't cling to the thing. She's already gone. It doesn't matter. I'm clinging to the experience. I'm clinging to the impression it made in my mind. So I now have two things inside of me. Well, really a whole bunch of them, but two types of things. Those things that I didn't like, so I kept inside me because I pushed them away. And those things that I did like, way less, by the way, those things that I did like, and so I clung to them and I dream about them and hope to happen again. And every time I go out on a date or meet somebody, I hope they're a lot like George when I was 12 because I liked him so much. And I judge everything. Well, he didn't slurp like that when he ate. And don't you tell me you don't do that, right? And you start comparing every experience you're having against the ones that you liked, or every experience you're having against the ones you didn't like. And the next thing you know, I'm telling you, the way you will live your life is that way. You'll not be okay inside. I'm not okay in here. You will go to the mind that has this very specific data. Your likes and dislikes are totally different from hers, okay? And yours are different at different times, depending on what impressions happened recently. You have totally different feelings about it, all right? Do I need to teach you how strong that is? You just fell in love with somebody. I mean, oh my God, the man or girl of your dreams is the most beautiful thing. Oh my God, my soulmate, I just can't even imagine what's happening. So a friend of yours comes up to you and says, Paul? You talking about Paul? Did you hear what he did to the last two people he dated? I mean, he completely destroyed these people. How you feel now? Then he says, just kidding. I just wanted to see what you... How do you feel now? All I'm showing you is the data goes in and changes everything, doesn't it? If that mind changes, everything changes. So now what you have is this random data. This random data as you went through your life, got pulled in there, you stored it, positive, negative, and now the world's unfolding in front of you, and what you've done now is say, I'm not okay. You went to that very mind. Which one? The one that's full of all this junk that you stored in there. All this meaningless data. The events are over. But you stored them. And you go to that mind and say, what needs to happen for me to be okay? You do that, don't you? What needs to happen for me to be okay? And what better not happen that's going to make me worse? You definitely got those, don't you? And your mind, because your mind loves you, says, okay, I'll figure it out for you. I'll think about it day and night. Don't try to go to sleep because I'll be thinking about it, right? And it just day and night, I'm going to be thinking about what needs to happen to make me be okay, make you be okay, right? It doesn't use the word you. I wish your mind would. When you go to your mind next time, do me a favor, a personal favor. Don't say, what has to happen for me to be okay? Say, oh mind, figure out what needs to happen for me to be okay. You're not your mind. You're the one who went to the mind and told her to think like this. You're the one who notices your mind is still thinking about it, aren't you? You are the consciousness inside. And then when your mind talks, I did this once for a while. Don't do it, it's stupid. But I did it for a while when I was living alone. I told my mind, I was very strict with my mind in the early days, you are not to use the word I. I'm the I. I'm watching you think. Don't you say I. If you want to figure out what's going to make me feel better, you say it. I think you'll feel better if you do this. I don't think I'll feel better. Mine, you don't even know about feeling good or feeling bad. There's a distinction in there. You just went to a computer. The computer doesn't use the word I. That's ridiculous, right? You're the I. You're the end user. Well, you're in there, aren't you? And you went to your mind and said, figure it out. So your mind said, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, I'll work on it. And it comes up with this whole model. God, it makes me cry because this is really true, right? It comes up with this whole complicated model of what you like and what you don't like, what needs to happen for you to be okay, and what better not happen, you'll be worse. And it just comes up with it, and it's got that one, doesn't it? It's got that down. Then what does it do? It looks out into the world, scared. Scared of what? Scared that I won't get what I want, or scared that I'll get what I don't want? And are you scared that you won't get what you want? And are you scared that you'll get what you don't want? How much of the time are you scared? I'm not saying frighten you, crawl in a corner, but if you'll pay attention to your state of mind, it's pretty much all the time. You're pretty much looking out there trying to manipulate and control the world around you so that it will be the way you want and not be the way you don't want. And that's your life. And I'm telling you, that's the end of it. If you don't do something about it, I've just described your entire life. It will change as you get older and different things happen. The model will change slightly. Right now it's, I want this car and I want that and I want to meet somebody. And next, I don't want to go to a nursing home, It's unbelievable, but it's real. And if you don't do something about it, that's what you're going to do with every moment of your life. You're going to be looking out there with a sense of trepidation, a little bit of uncomfortableness, to make sure that it looks like it's going to unfold the way you want. And if it's not, you're going to do something about it, aren't you? You're going to say something to somebody, you're going to give them a flower, carrots and sticks, it doesn't matter, they're all the same. You're going to try and manipulate people, places, and things around you so that the probability increases that they will be the way you want and not be the way you don't want. That's not a lot of fun way to live your life. It didn't sound anything like the love and joy and enthusiasm and passion that I said was capable of going on. Well, if you're going to live like that, of course there's none of that. Every once in a while there is. If it looks like something's going the way I want, see how long that lasts. Why? Why doesn't it last? Because you have set these conditions and you've basically said, yeah, she's really great and she looks just right and we're so excited, but there could be something in there. Come on. There'll be something about her past or his past. There'll be something about this. There'll be something about that. It's just your mind. Your mind is destroying your life. And it's basically saying, here are the set of rules that I've made up, the way everything needs to be for me to be okay, as if you know because you're not okay. You'd be the last person to know how to be okay. You're not okay. It's so funny. And then it makes up all these things, and then it goes out there and struggles, fights, struggles, to try and make things be as close as possible. And you're locked in this little box that your past has created. And I want to leave you here for 1 second to realize, do you realize how terrible that is? I don't want you living like that. There's no winning there, period. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care who you marry. I don't care what you do. That's not a win. That's like trying to get everything inside the box that fits inside the box that makes you be okay. There's no freedom. There's no liberation. There's no joy. There's no spontaneity. It's all, and even if you get what you want, you worry about losing it, don't you? All right. It's a constant state of non-well-being. And the more I looked at it, the more it made perfect sense to me that the end result of this is a state of non-well-being. Well, why would that be? Because it started from a state of non-well-being. By their fruits, so then shall you know them. Right? Therefore, when it's said and done, it's going to project that state of non-okayness onto everything and everyone. And now, it's not that I'm not okay, it's that you're not okay, being the way I need you to be so I could be okay. And you said you would be. You start blaming everything and everybody and fearing life and not wanting to get up in the morning. And it's terrible. Don't live like that. If I have but one life to live, no way. I ain't living it that way. Any other way is better than that. Any other way, it doesn't matter. Because that way don't work. It doesn't work to not be okay, make up how everything needs to be based on your past experiences, and then go out there and try to make the current world in front of you be the way that you made up. It makes me laugh so hard. And I like to ask you, how's it working out? There's no way it's going to work out. It can't possibly. The world in front of you is unfolding in accordance to the forces that make it unfold. Past experiences, genetics, all kinds of stuff make things happen, don't they? Not what you made up about your past. How in the world can what you made up manifest in front of you? Well, the answer is it can't and it won't, and it doesn't. The truth of the matter is you're not supposed to get what you want. That's not the nature of the universe. The universe has its nature, just like a snake has its nature. Everything has its nature. The nature of the universe is that it unfolds in accordance to the laws of creation. Physics, chemistry, psychology, past experiences manifest to make the current moment, don't they? The current moment is the exact perfect reflection of every force that's causing it to be this way. The weather wasn't wrong that it rained before you came out here and was hard to drive. It was right. The forces that cause the weather to be the way it is, if you go on a vacation to Hawaii and it rains every day, that's not wrong. It's not bad. It's not imperfect. It's not that you did something wrong and you're being punished. It's not your karma. I wouldn't even do that. It's meteorology. It's highs and low zones. There are reasons that it is doing that, and they have nothing to do with you. So when you look at this world out there, there is no way it is going to be the way you want it to be, nor should it be, because the person next to you doesn't even want it to be the way you do. Everybody has these past experiences, and that causes them to think differently when they go to their mind. All right. Now, if you don't want to live that way, how can you live? What's the alternative? It's an alternative lifestyle. So you sit there and you realize, wait a minute, let's do it very quickly. There's nothing wrong with the world. It unfolds in accord. I mean, I'm not saying it's right either. It just is. It is what it is. Like if I ask you, is it okay with you that Saturn has rings? Is it good or bad that Saturn has rings? I hope you don't answer me. All right? Because it's a stupid question. And if you do answer me, I want you to say, it's none of my business. That's how everything is. Every single thing in creation is the same as Saturn's rings. There are forces that came through space and time that caused Saturn to have rings. There are forces that came through space and time that made this moment exist. Every single thing is the same. It is all the universe expressing the forces of creation to create the current moment. You want to call it God? Call it God, that's fine. You want to call it science? Call it science. I got no problem with any of it. Just don't call it me. Because it's not. There's no way you're creating this universe. It is creating itself in accordance to the forces that are causing it to be. So when you change your lifestyle, you start off by admitting, I'm not okay. That wasn't the problem, noticing that you're not okay. You're in there and you notice that the heart and the mind, there's issues in there. You're not okay. The problem was when you said, what do I do about it? When you said, what do I do about it? You went to the mind. The mind doesn't know. It doesn't know. The mind doesn't know anything about love, doesn't know anything about passion, or anything like, the mind just, it's a computer, right? Computer doesn't know anything. I know a lot about computers. I tell you right now, they know what the programmer put in there. Your data doesn't know anything. There's just a little bit of data you picked up. So instead of going to your mind, that's the mistake. You come back, that's what meditation is about. You come back in, you find the place deep inside behind the mind, and you'll see that it's not so comfortable. It's not okay. All right? Good. You have to say good. Not what do I do about it? Because when you say what do I do about it, what you're saying is I can't handle this. I can't handle my heart hurts. I can't handle I feel lonely. I can't handle I feel left out. I can't handle I don't feel meaning in my life. Do you understand that? That's what you're saying. I got to do something about it. When you can handle something, you don't do anything about it. You just handle it. You don't do anything about the white lines. Do you stop and check them out and erase them and anything like that? No, because you can handle them. All kinds of stuff in life you can handle. It goes by and you handle it. Don't do anything about it. I'm going to define the ability to handle something means you don't have to do anything about it. It's when you can't handle something, you have to do something about it. You need to get to the point as quickly as possible of realizing, yeah, it's true, I'm not okay in here. I can be okay in here. Nobody's saying you won't, but right now it's not. Okay, you better just rest there for a second. No, yes. You have to be able to relax in the face of the discomfort that you feel inside. Otherwise, it will drive you into your mind because in essence what you're saying is, I don't want to feel this. All right? So you come back inside and you get comfortable. Doesn't mean it has to stay. Just you relax and let your consciousness see there is a state inside of me that sometimes is not doing so well and sometimes it actually hurts a lot. And sometimes it's better and you just notice this, called witness consciousness. You notice this. You just relax. It's called acceptance. It's called honoring and respecting the reality of what is in front of you. And what is in front of you is pretty screwed up, isn't it? Right? It's a state of not so wellness. All right? Well, let me tell you, if something's wrong with your body, you better start with acceptance. If you found there was some kind of growth or cut or something on your body and you don't want anybody to see it, if you can't handle that you got something wrong with your arm, you won't go to the doctor, you won't show it to anybody, you won't do anything. You'll go into a total state of denial because I can't handle that it's that way. Make sense to you? None of you do that. You're very quick to try and get it fixed because you know it can be fixed. You don't know you can be fixed. You don't know it can be beautiful in there because it hasn't been a whole lot, right? It's only been when certain circumstances happen. But you don't know you can always be beautiful in there. Listen to me. I am assuring you, every single one of you, I don't care what you ever did, I don't care what ever happened to you, you can wake up in the morning and you can't get out of bed because so much ecstasy is just waving through you, bliss, wave upon wave, and then you figured out how to hold yourself together while you're going through the day. That's how you're supposed to be living. That is your natural state. That's what it means to be a whole, open, healthy being inside. So you start by realizing just like you have trouble with your arm, you have trouble with your heart, you have trouble with your anxiety, you have trouble with different things inside. You have to start with acceptance. You have to start by, I'm in here and something's wrong. Okay, relax, accept it, honor it. And then instead of going outward into the memories of what made it better before, made it worse before, you ask a totally different question. You don't ask, what does everybody else need to do for me to be okay? You ask the right question. Why is it like this? Not what do I do about it to hide it or get away from it. Why is it like this? It's not true that you're lonely because you're not married. That is not true. The question is, why are you lonely? Why are you not feeling love? It's not true that you're lonely because you don't have somebody. Your natural state is not loneliness. Your natural state is a state of complete, spontaneous joy and love welling up inside of you. You are whole and complete within yourself. There is no need in any way, shape, or form. You're the greatest being that ever walked the face of this earth. Doesn't mean you don't get married. You get married because you're so full of love, you want to share it. That's beautiful. But if you don't feel that, you ask the question, why am I having these problems? Why do I feel this way? What's wrong? And believe it or not, you can actually answer that question. Not what do I do about it? Why is it this way? God, it's so deep. What a difference. It's that whole thing in Untethered Soul where I talked about the thorn. Taking out the thorn. Are you going to sit there and get a thorn and a splinter or something in your hand so it doesn't work right and just try to adapt your life to your broken hand? Or are you going to take the splinter out so you don't have a broken hand? This is exactly what I'm talking about right now. Yes, there's a problem in there. Fix it. Not compensate for it. And I'm telling you, our entire lives is compensating for what's wrong inside of us. That's all we're doing, is trying to find things that make us feel better and try to make things that don't feel worse. All right. Why do I not feel whole? All right. Now I'm sharing with you everything I ever learned. Why don't I not feel whole? Because it's the same for every one of you. There's no difference. Everybody's exactly the same. Why do I not feel whole? Why do I feel lacking? Why do I not feel this beautiful energy? And the answer is for the same reason that if there's a river or a stream flowing, and it's flowing by itself, and I go there and I build a dam right upstream, right where my property starts, I'm going to build this big dam. Don't ask me why I did it, but I'm doing it. I build a big dam, and then I'm going to sit downstream on my property and cry because there's no water. Why is there no water? I don't understand. There used to be water. Where'd the water go? That's why you don't feel the joy. That is why you don't feel the love. That is why you don't feel the enthusiasm. That is why you don't feel the passion. Why? You blocked it. You built a dam. You built a dam that blocks the flow of the Shakti, that blocks the flow of the Chi, that blocks the flow of the spirit. Call it whatever you want. There's this beautiful energy inside sometimes in there, all right? You blocked it. How did I do that? I told you earlier in this conversation how you did that. When an event happened to you that wasn't comfortable to you, even though the event's over, you pushed it down inside of you. That was equivalent to blocking up that part of your energy flow. It's damming it up. You push something down there. It's like putting a rock in a river, in a stream. It starts to get weird. It causes eddies and starts to block up. Then another thing happens, you push it down. Another thing happens, you push it down. Nice thing happens, you clung to it. Every single thing you are holding inside of you is blocking your energy flow. You know it's true. You're doing wonderfully, having a great time with somebody. Oh my God, you're feeling so much love. And they mention one topic. One topic. Have you used algebra since you went to school? And you flunked algebra 3 times. It was the biggest melodrama. That's the end of that good time. You understand that? Maybe for 3 weeks before you open back up again. Have you ever closed because you saw something, heard something, or somebody said something? You were doing well and then it just closed down. You do watch it open and close, don't you? Even open. You say, but I love to be open. I love for it to feel it open. No, that's ridiculous. Because if you feel it open, it means it was closed. Why is it closed? There shouldn't be any need to open it. I don't want the door open. I want no more door. There is not going to be anything inside of here, to the best of my ability, that has the ability to block my energy flow. Why? I started the conversation by telling you, you don't really want the things you say you want. What you want is the energy flow that they cause happen. That's why you like intimacy. That's why you like relationships. That's why you like money. That's why you like success. That's why you like respect from other people. It makes the energy flow. So why don't you admit it? You like the energy flow. And what yoga is about is going directly for the energy flow, not indirectly. because it doesn't work. And so you sit there and say, if I have dammed up this energy flow, which is all I really care about is the energy flow, then I'm going to remove the dam. There, we got there. And that becomes the purpose of your life. So now we're down to serious. Is that possible? Well, that stuff happened in your childhood. You couldn't handle. Mommy and daddy got divorced. This happened and that happened. All kinds of things. Somebody stole your boyfriend when you were 12 and broke your heart. And net result is you got a lot of stuff in there, don't you? All right? Get it out. You meditate all you want. It's wonderful. Meditation helps meditate. But it's said and done, the only thing that is your entire spiritual path is whether you are willing to let this stuff go. Because as long as you got the stuff in there, you do all the meditation you want, you do all the mantra you want, and if you don't let that stuff go inside, nothing happens. And if you do let that stuff go inside, everything happens. If I sit down there downstream, mantra, water flow, calm, meditate, just undam the water. And all of a sudden you're going to find out it flows. This is a perfectly natural thing. It's the same thing inside of you. So you actually get to the point where you realize the purpose and meaning of my life, not the entire meaning of my life, is the removal of these blockages. Because that's going to give me what I want. So what it boils down to, and the bottom line is, you now walk out into life, every moment of it, saying, if there's something in here that can get hit, take aim, I'm game. I don't want it in me. I don't want it in me. I want it to come up. Because you don't know what to bring up first or next. You don't even know how to find stuff. But it finds you, doesn't it? It finds you every day. You feel insecure. You feel scared. You feel jealous. All kinds of stuff goes on in there, doesn't it? All right, good. It's a total paradigm shift. This is the only thing you have the right to use the word paradigm shift. The paradigm shift is when you sit there and say, I don't want this stuff in me. And I'm not making decisions in my life that help it stay inside of me because I can't deal with it. What I'm going to do is go about my life. First, I'm going to get conscious, centered, conscious, clear. Right now, you're very clear. We're having a nice conversation. All right? See if you stay that way 5 minutes from now, because that stuff's going to start because you can't handle it. You get sucked into it. Next thing you know, you're doing the same junk again. That's what meditation's about. That's what all the practices are about. Just like practice on a tennis court or practice on a piano. You practice staying conscious. Eventually you will reach a point, listen to me, because people ask me this sometimes. You will reach a point where you are never, ever even close to not conscious, to not centered. Doesn't matter if it's the most terrible thing or the most wonderful, the most tempting thing, doesn't matter. It all goes out there. It's like 30, 50 miles away from you. And it happens in slow motion. Here it comes. Here it comes. Maybe you feel a little disturbance in the force, but you're way back here. Your consciousness is centered, clear. We call it becoming established in the self. There is nothing that will take you out of that state. Not that which you want the most, not that which you fear the most. They're just things out there that used to bother you. But you're centered. That's called being centered. It's becoming established in the seat of self. Of course you're capable of doing that. You're in there. What happens, though, is you don't want to. It's like stopping smoking. You say you want to, but you don't want to. You picked up the stupid cigarette. If you wanted to, you wouldn't have smoked. You have to want to. You have to sit there and say, this stuff that's bothering me is not what I want to devote my life to. So you get centered, and then what happens is each day, each moment, all the time, stuff is going to happen. It's going to bring some stuff up periodically. And your attitude at all times is time to go to God. Time to grow. Good. My heart hurts. Good. If something can make my heart hurt, bring it on. I don't want to live in here afraid of my own heart. If something can disturb my mind, bring it on. I don't want to live here afraid of my own mind. It's bad enough to be afraid of somebody else. Don't be afraid of yourself. And you understand? You're scared to death of your own heart. It can cause some trouble in there, can't it? You're scared to death of your mind because it'll bother you, all right? Just learn to relax. You just relax. You say, okay, I see you're not done with this yet. We're going to let this go. You won't do it perfectly. That's okay. But your attitude is perfect. Your intent is perfect. Anything that happens from now on is just pointing out to me the work I have to do of letting go of these blockages that I stored inside myself. And every single moment of my life, whatever I need to do to the best of my ability, I'm letting go. And you still go to work, and you still are married, and you still take care of the kids, but This is what you're really doing. Every second of your life, there is nothing else going on. You are using life as a way to liberate yourself. Why would I do that? Because you started admitting to me that all the things you said you wanted, you really didn't want. You wanted the experience you thought they would create. This is how you get that experience all the time. There was a great master who once wrote a poem. What hast thou done to me? Wave upon wave of ecstasy saturate me day and night. Throng upon throng of joy. That's what you want. So you work for it. You just let go of your stuff because it gives you what you want. It gives you the joy. And eventually when you let go of enough stuff, you don't have to worry about what's going on in there because you learned how to let it go. And then every event that takes place during the day, a great being who's done a lot of this work would never, ever, ever store another thing inside. It takes 2 seconds to store and it takes 20 years to get them out, doesn't it? So you better start by handling what's going on in front of you. That stuff starts unfolding in front of you, say, yes, sir, thank you. If you fall down, get up the minute you can and say, thank you, thanks, thank you. And just let it go. Let it go. Don't keep stuff inside of you. Then the old stuff will start coming up all by itself. You don't need anything. It'll come from your dreams. It'll come up. All of a sudden, everything will remind you of your mother or your first wife or something. You're like, what's going on? All right, it doesn't matter. It's just your stuff coming up. And you just let it go and let it go. And I'm telling you, there's no chance in the world that at some point you're not going to feel this joy, this love. It starts slow, but then it happens more. Now it's beautiful. This flow coming in from behind you. And it's so beautiful that you say, well, that's what I want. Good. Now you start making the food you eat, the decisions you make, every word you say, you'll work in accordance with the flow of that energy. You become a servant of that energy. And that Shakti starts flowing. It is so beautiful that you just say, that's what I want. And so you go toward that. You go toward the light. And now it becomes very spiritual. You become very spiritual. And people say, well, what about helping other people? You be that, and you tell me what happens to other people. You reach those states where that's going on inside of you, and you start checking out what happens to your folks and to your brothers and sisters and to your husbands or wives or your children or your friends or your enemies, because it's all going to change. It changes the reason everything changes. If I'm doing a scientific experiment and I change an input, the results change, don't they? Well, you're an input in everybody's life. You're an input in everything. Well, that input you're now bringing is something really, really special. It's the highest thing you can do. Somebody once said to me back, I was a 60s boy, somebody once said to me, the highest gift you can give to another person is that they just met the most beautiful human being they'll ever meet. That's the highest gift you can give to anybody, that they just got to interact with the most beautiful person they've ever met. That's selflessness. That's a gift. That's serving. You don't have to do all these other things. It happens all by itself. All right. Work on this. Jagrata.